Hi, everyone. Hello, hello, hello. This is Andra from My Only Chat, and you are here with Pineapple Support. I'd love to introduce you guys to my awesome guests today, Jason Domino, Sahara Knight, and Leah Tennant. I'd like you guys to introduce yourselves as you know more about yourselves than I do, and let these awesome people know what is it that you do, and who you are, and what is it that your company does, please. Jason?
Oh, I'm gonna bow to Sahara first, just because the structure of our company.
Hi, I'm Sahara. I'm a performer, but I'm also chairperson for SNAP, which stands for Support Network for Adult Professionals. And we're an organisation that helps advise and provide resources for adult performers in the UK and anywhere else as well, if they need be. That's a little nutshell.
Sure. So hi, I'm Jason Domino. I said company, but it's a committee involved in a sort of larger support network for the adult industry. So company is probably the wrong word. So yeah, I'm Jason Domino. I'm also a porn performer, and I'm a full service sex worker. Sometimes there's a lot of different words for that: escort, all sorts of other things. So experiences from other parts of the community as well. And my role is in the sort of well-being, sexual health side of things within SNAP. But I come from a background where I'm involved with National Ugly Mugs, which is a sex worker safety charity. I'm involved in a sex worker trade union as well. So there's a number of different intersections that play there. Okay. That's me.
Thank you. Leah, hi.
Yeah. I'm Leah. I'm the founder and CEO of Pineapple Support, which is a nonprofit providing mental health care and emotional resources to those in the adult industry. We work on a global scale across 5 continents now with about 260 therapists, and try and cover everything mental health. So from support groups, webinars, workshops, one-on-one therapy, providing support at the large shows. We want to do as much as we can to ensure positive mental health within the industry.
Okay, thank you. Sahara, you recently, I understand that SNAP has had a rebranding.
Yes, we rebranded. Oh goodness me, when was it that we rebranded? Last year? Yeah, before. Yeah, August. Formerly it was UCAP, and I became chairperson of UCAP in 2019, and then we rebranded in 2020 to become a more we became performer-led in 2019. We just rebranded, so we thought it would be more inclusive to be offering a support network for adult professionals rather than UK adult professionals. So we were just slightly bit more of an inclusive organisation where everybody felt welcome, and we have members that range from, we have performers, producers. We're open to escorts could come in there as well, and trans performers, gay performers. We're open to everybody, but we're sort of predominantly a performer and producer-led organisation. But we do help signpost other people if they need to as well.
Okay, what has happened besides, the openness to it? Any other services that you guys provide? I know something about the kits. We were talking right before we went live on this. Can you tell me more about these the kits that you guys offer?
Yeah, I'm going to pass you to Jason, because me and Jason worked on the COVID toolkit. There's 2 toolkits we've got. So for the first one is a COVID toolkit, which Jason can explain.
Sure, absolutely. So one of the big bits of work that we're doing during the pandemic was obviously to try and give people advice to find ways to reduce chances of acquisition of COVID during things like filming. Obviously, there was a big shift of people from necessarily trying studio films, actually trying things like content creation, filming in their own homes, these sorts of things. So a lot of people were learning some of these things like studio setups for the first time. So it seemed really important that whatever toolkit we made would be something that someone could look at and apply in a range of different situations. And because Snap is like horizontally organized, there'll be producers reading it, there'll be performers reading it, there'll be people who are maybe using other terms, a bit of a mixture in the middle, all sorts. And you can find the COVID toolkit if you visit snaptogether.co.uk, and there's links right on the banner there. It kind of has a risk assessment, so you can look at your own setup and then see, oh, actually there might be chances that someone's acquiring COVID this way. And then ways to sort of look at suggestions responding to each one of the risk assessments that you kind of engage with there. There's also a liability waiver. So strongest protection is kind of using components of all three of those parts. A little video on there sort of helps to break that down. We do have one other toolkit which kind of uses a similar structure, but it's about tackling like incidents of abuse or other sort of incidents, or accusations, like perhaps malicious accusations of those sort of situations. Like, how can you prevent those sort of situations? Again, using like the risk assessment, what sort of things might happen in certain situations? How could you prevent those sort of situations from happening? What sort of suggestions might you use? Is there space for intimacy coordinators? Is there space for certain parts of paperwork covering different types of things you're consenting to, as far as what you want to actually be doing within the film? It's an interesting thing, I think, for a lot of productions to think about and to see where they can implement some of these new strategies.
So is this
And these
mainly
are...
on set? Sorry. I'm not,
Go ahead, Leah.
Is this mainly on set, or is this if you're being attacked by a fan or another person in the industry, or is it, yeah, on or off?
So we try to have quite an open remit when we made it together, and it's still like a work in progress. Like, there will always, like, a lot of our documents are live documents where we're kind of working on them in an agile way to like always make them better for the community. But for example, within that incident and accusation toolkit, it covers how do you talk to each other even in online spaces before even you arrange the scene. So like, what type of engagements are you having with people you want to work with? So it does cover quite a wide range. It's not just whether you're in front of the camera in the filming space, you know, doing that part of the production. Sometimes people have things that they are feeling vulnerable about after production, or in a whole range of different places within the sort of the setup. Yeah, and I think these are the types of bits of work that we learn quite a lot through. I've learned a lot more about fields of work like intimacy coordination, this kind of idea of like third parties being someone who can potentially alleviate certain stresses within certain filming. So think of someone being present, and if someone is feeling vulnerable, that they can call out to this third party who can stop the scene, because they know that they won't necessarily get in trouble or be shouted at for stopping the scene if they're speaking directly to the production. So there's all sorts of interesting ideas which will work for some setups but not work for every setup. And I think it's, opens some conversations for the future.
Okay, thank you so much. That's oh, Miriam just joined.
Sorry, I just had to shut Denture Express down, so I was in a bit of an emergency, so I'm a bit late.
Hi, whereabouts are you right now? I see
I'm just in the lab so that's where we test for gonorrhea and chlamydia. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Why don't you introduce yourself and just tell the people what you do and what is it? I mean, we know you're in the lab. What is it that you do exactly?
So I'm Mim, or Miriam. I'm the lead nurse for Denture Express, and I'm also the lead nurse for sex workers. So yeah. So we test people every day. Do you want to know what Denture Express does? So basically, it's a service that's basically run by nurses. We don't really have doctors. Well, we don't have any doctors working here. We let anyone under the age of 21 walk in. We give out PrEP, a lot of it. We do treatments here. We give out Hep Bs, HPVs. We see sex workers. We see everyone really, to be honest. So basically the machine behind me that tests gonorrhea and chlamydia, that's a Cepheid machine, and it tests gonorrhea, it tests samples within 90 minutes. So then it downloads it to our software, and then we send out a message to the patient to say whether they're negative, positive, and then essentially they could walk back in within the same day and get treated. It used to be walk-in. That was one thing I was actually quite proud of Denture Express for, being walk-in, but due to COVID restrictions, we've had to put that back to appointments. So essentially, when it used to be walk-in, that person could then tell their contacts, which obviously prevents the spread of the lumps. So, yeah.
Mhm.
And
Thank
then
you.
we do outreaches in Soho as well. I go to working flats, so we do testing there.
This actually brings me to my next question. How has COVID affected your resources in your business with the kids, with what you're doing?
So basically, it's affected us. We can't, due to social distancing measures, obviously the NHS can't be seen to not adhere to it. So we've had to really restrict the amount of patients we're seeing. So our waiting room isn't full. It used to be sometimes you'd wait an hour and a half for like to see a nurse. Now it's probably about half an hour wait. So we're not seeing, unfortunately, patients can't get in to see us as quick as they'd like. So they're waiting 7 days for an appointment at the moment. So I do try and open it up as much as I can throughout the day, but it's very difficult at the moment. So, and the other thing is the treatments, obviously. So the one over World AIDS Day, we're doing I can't actually remember what the campaign's called. PrEP. It's PrEP for the young people. It's like a student kind of pride thing, or Student World AIDS Day. So we're doing a week where all students can walk in, and we're also doing a week where anyone, any age, can walk in for PrEP starts if they're not already on PrEP. Because a lot of the clinics in England aren't. It's like, for example, Leicester. They're not giving out PrEP until January. That's their next appointment. But of course, that's not very fair. People can't have or do what they want until January. So kind of, I feel that that's a bit bad, to be honest. So that's the reason why our service is so oversubscribed. Also, we do chemsex. We deal with quite a lot. So we've got chemsex, like David Stewart. I'd say you must have heard of him. We can directly refer to him. And we've also got the drugs club clinic as well. So we've got a lot of services at our disposal.
Okay, Leah, how has COVID affected Pineapple Support Resources? I know that you guys, you've been doing so many webinars, you've been helping people so much online, but still, how is it affected?
I mean, we've seen a huge increase in the amount of performers coming to us requesting therapy, which was completely expected. I think that, the pandemic has affected absolutely everybody in one way or another, particularly those who rely on having a space to work from, whose kids are now in the house, or so on and so forth. So we've gone up from around 30 therapy requests a month to 150 to 180, which is a huge leap. So we've had to shimmy some things around. We've taken on more therapists. Thankfully, we've been able to find more sponsors to help us continue providing the resources. We've added support groups. So we now have 3 drop-in support groups running. We've got one for all performers, for the BIPOC community, and one for male performers. And they're commitment-free and completely free, which is a great way to ensure this community, keep people connected and not feeling so isolated, particularly if you're stressed or needing that little bit of extra support. And yeah, as you said, more and more webinars and presentations and things that people can get involved with from the comfort of their own home. Yeah, it's been a very interesting year to adjust and ensure that we've got enough resources and the money to cover those resources and not let anyone feel or be left. I was thinking you don't know which person, who's going through what. So when someone contacts you for support or contacts us for support, we ensure that everyone gets a response within 3 days and connected to a therapist within 5 days. So that's something that's very, very important to myself and the whole team. Yeah.
What about, thank you. What about SNAP? How has COVID affected you in which way? Sarah?
Do you mean as an organization?
Yes.
How was it? During the well, we actually started putting on more members meetings and doing more seminars as well, just to make sure that people felt included, that they weren't like feeling left out. They've always got somebody in the committee who they can contact if they need anything. Yeah, I think we just try to be more available to performers and creators, especially now we've got there's a lot more creators in the pandemic. Obviously, a lot more new people came on onto the platform with, people losing their work, having to work from home, and it's just trying to navigate that as well, because obviously, not obviously, but it brings its own problems with the creators, with people not knowing necessarily what they need to be doing. And yeah, so it sort of comes with its own set of issues, but that's what we've been navigating as well, to try and make people aware that if you're going to be working on the platforms, what they need, what they should be doing, and just to try and work safely and sort of within guidelines and regular, sort of, we're in the UK obviously as well, within the sort of health and testing guidelines, paperwork guidelines, and just making sure that everyone's safe, well, as safe as can be, and signposting people where necessary as well. Should I add to that, Jason?
Yeah, I think I'd love to jump in and take off one of my hats and put another hat on for a moment. So as I said, I'm also a staff member at National Ugly Mugs, the sex worker safety charity. And during the pandemic, as a charity sort of responding to people when they're facing things like physical abuse or these sorts of things with the client, some of the sorts of things that we saw was that there was still the same sort of number of threats sort of happening to the community throughout through the generation, not the generation, through to the duration. Even though a lot of people were reporting that there were, okay, but let's talk more about people who mean like client meetings sort of side of sex work. Even if they were meeting less clients, there was still the same amount of people reporting like threats or attacks and these sorts of things. So it means percentage wise, like you're dealing with more risk because there's less work, and of that work, there's still the same amount of threats happening. So it was a really difficult time for a lot of people where they had to continue working. A lot of people maybe didn't feel like again, this is very focused on sort of client meeting sex work rather than the online sort of work, but a lot of clients didn't feel like they could meet sex workers because of the sort of social distancing rules and that side of things. So that was one of the interesting sort of plays that happened there, and it might have contributed to a lot of people trying out things like the content creator platforms, trying out other forms of work to be able to see where they can do social distancing and try and avoid some of those increased percentage threat-wise in their work.
Okay. I understand. Thank you. Marianne, Leah, you mentioned about events and about doing some special events for performers. Do you want to tell us more about it, Leah? I know that you have a wellness event happening
that you're part of, yeah.
I had no idea. Ooh.
Yeah, we have our annual mental health summit on the 16th and 17th of December, and that's to commemorate International Day to End Violence Against Sex Workers on December 17th. So we do it around that date every year, and this year the theme is security in an uncertain world. So we're going to be talking about how to all the different new laws that have come in and how to make sure you're secure financially. Listen, we're going to hear from performers about how they are trying to make sure that we don't get, if something like this happens again, how do you make sure you're not as hit so hard? Therapists are coming on to talk about self-esteem and self-care and self-image and discrimination within the industry and how best to deal with that. So that should be really interesting. And I'm very excited about the Snap event next month, and then going to all the LA shows are back on again. Yes. Actually socializing and doing things that we used to do. It's amazing.
What about the Snap? Miriam, go ahead. What,
I want to come to an LA show.
Come along. It'll be fine.
I'm sure Denture will pay for it.
Tell us more about your event, Miriam. What's going to happen?
So ours is basically that we find that an awful lot of young people between under the age of 25, they're the ones we can't capture at the moment. So for PrEP, basically, so a lot of them are getting diagnosed with HIV. For example, I've diagnosed someone who's 21. I very rarely diagnose anyone now above the age of 25. So we're trying to target young people at the moment. So we're doing a PrEP awareness week. I had to look at my emails to see I couldn't remember what the thing was called. So that's where we're just going to give out PrEP to anyone that hasn't started it already, just to try and keep suppressing HIV, because obviously we want to get to 0%. So yeah, that's basically our campaign at the moment. So that we're in conjunction, I don't know if you know Soho, but so we always do World AIDS Day at GAY. So we'll test like multiple people there, and also we're giving out PrEP there, which is unusual for us. And also I'm doing Student Pride as well, which is in February, so I'll be giving out PrEP then. So hopefully I can capture all the students. That's our main thing. And we're letting for freshers, I think it's Freshers Month, so we're letting any student ID walk in and get PrEP. We just want to suppress the HIV. That's our main aim at the moment.
That's a beautiful goal, and that's a great goal. Tell us, Jason, what about the Snap event that Leah just mentioned?
Yeah, absolutely. So, my brain is going to make sure that, okay, the 7th,
December 9th.
December 9th.
December 9th, Christmas event. We've got a Christmas event on December the 9th. It's our Christmas party. But it's a networking, it's for industry only, so an industry friends. And it's a networking, and I'm going to call it a piss up. Let's call it what it is. It's an industry party. Look, Jason, it is. It's an industry networking event, and obviously people get to meet lots of different people and network and just let your hair down and have a bit of a good time.
I think
where is it? How do we get in?
I'll put you on the guest list. It's guest list. It's in it's a strip. Well, it's a gentleman's club. It's not quite. Gentleman's club for your eyes only in Old Street. Pineapple Support have coming. We've got extended invite to Dean Street as well. Just waiting for John to come back with some numbers for me. And we've got we've got quite a few sponsors. So it should be and we've got a cake stand as well, a festive cake stand, just in case you get hungry. And Christmas festivities, really, yeah.
Who have you contacted at Dean Street? Have they got back to you yet?
John Clark, you know John.
Oh, I've just been texting about the little disaster that we've had at Dean Street.
I messaged him yesterday for something else, and he said, I'm away at the moment. And it's his birthday, so I said, I'll speak when you get back then.
Yeah, it was his birthday yesterday.
So yeah, he said he'll let me know. So yeah, we had representatives from Dean Street in August, which they found it quite fun. Did they, Jason? Did they enjoy it?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. The nice thing is, it's
that was Aaron and Lynette and Chris. Aaron and Chris, wasn't it?
Absolutely. It's such a good place to be able to network and point people to resources that maybe like someone who's new to the industry may not know about, what, even where their sexual health clinic even is. And it's really nice to be able to have a moment like that. And it's you know, we have a bit of a laugh. There's some performers on stage who, you know, do some ridiculous acts and all sorts of things. And it's I think it's good after the pandemic for people to even have that letting their head down. Like, it's just been such a difficult emotional toll on a lot of people. And
Absolutely.
the industry that anyway.
For a lot of us working in the adult industry, either performer on or on the exec side, we meet more people from the adult industry more times than we meet our friends and family. So it's such a good thing to have these networking events between ourselves. It's like a high school reunion, but only with the cool kids, and we're all cool kids, something like that. Paulita, you just joined. Thank you so much. How are you? How's it going?
Hi, I'm doing all right. I apologize. I'm really, really sorry I missed up the dates, but I'm really happy to see all of your faces. Some of you again, some of you for the first time.
Why don't you introduce yourself and FSC and tell us more about what it does?
Yeah, so I'm Paulita Papel. I'm mostly a producer and director. Run a couple of studios / platforms. Me and a couple of other folks started FSC Europe about a year ago, actually, right now. The idea was that we felt the industry in Europe is very scattered, and we felt that all of different companies and content producers are like, it feels like everyone is on their own, and there's no dialogue. Exactly what you folks were talking about now. There's no dialogue, there's no platforms for us to exchange and support each other. So we reached out to Free Speech Coalition North America, which is an organization, for the ones who don't know, that has been existing over 30 years. You know, they fought a lot of legal battles. They have a lot of experience fighting for the benefit of the whole adult industry. And we just figured, like, instead of inventing the wheel, why don't we reach out to them and see if we can, you know, learn from their resources and their experience, and also and basically create a European chapter of the Free Speech Coalition, which at the same time also has a link to Free Speech Coalition North America, because I feel like there's more and more people also working both sides, like Europe and America, and a lot of American companies right now are establishing themselves in Europe, such as, you know, from Denture, but also, of course, So we just felt like a dialogue within the European adult industry, but also with the adult industry in North America would be beneficial for all of us.
What do you see the differences between MSC North America, or do you see any differences in how you guys approach things in Europe than how it's approached in North America?
Really good question. I think the starts, like the origins of Free Speech Coalition in North America, I feel, and I think still today is still perceived as like this, although I don't think that's the case now. It's really perceived more as or the origins were more of like an association for producers, right? So it felt like at the core of their work, there was more, it was more like the interests of the producers were at stake. Although that has changed, and nowadays, again, it's the work that I've been seeing them doing and what I've participated, it's really about, you know, elevating the industry and making it a safer and better place for everyone. But we, from the very beginning, are putting the interest of the performers and content creators first, right? So that's what we've been doing mostly in the last year. We've been just basically talking to a lot of people. It hasn't been easy because of COVID and everything that you just said that before. But what we want to do is from the very beginning, center the realities and challenges and necessities and everything from the performers and content creators' perspectives.
Okay, thank you. Miriam, I know something about gold cards for performers. Can you talk a bit about that?
Gold cards are not just generally for performers. So basically, gold cards are given out to people that we would class are more vulnerable to an infection. So that's for a gold card. So gold cards used to be, again, walk-in, but no more, unfortunately. So actually, at the moment, there's no point in having a gold card because you still have to do what everyone else does. So, but yeah, they're nice. Do you want to see one?
Yes, please.
There it is.
Okay.
Miriam's got to get one for you. Jason's like, I'll show you mine instead.
Okay, wow, that is.
That's fancy, isn't it? Because not everybody gets one though.
There we go.
This is, there you go.
I can beat you to it, Miriam.
And these are the other ones.
Those are the, yeah,
Okay.
it's the normal one.
Those
Oh,
are the
nice.
normal ones.
That's another
Yeah.
design.
No, that's the
Yeah.
normal one.
I've got a gold card.
Nice.
We were having a really interesting discussion before we went live about the Dean Street home testing kits, because when I came to the clinic a couple of weeks ago and Aaron showed me around, it was so interesting, and I went through the whole process and getting
I saw it. Yeah, I remember that.
The results came through really quickly. Everything was just incredible and so smooth, and super impressed, and loved some of it was just the way everything was structured. I've absorbed a lot, and we shall be using some of your ideas.
When it works perfectly. At the moment, my touch screens are broken. Our downpipe from the toilets, screening rooms has just burst. So that's what I'm dealing with right now. So I'm glad to be in here and not out in reception, because it's not. That's what Denture Express is experiencing right now.
Oh my goodness.
Oh no.
Good luck.
Be deep clean tonight and it'll be pretty tomorrow, hopefully.
But Aaron was saying about the home testing kits, and I was saying how great that is. It means the performers that aren't in London can still use your resources. But then as Sahara pointed out, that the home testing kit results aren't accepted on set. So can we talk a little bit more about that? Because I found that really interesting.
What do you mean, the home testing kit, as in SHL or Denture Express?
Shall I? Yeah. So as a studios and sets, we don't accept a home test kit. So obviously, a home test kit is sent out, and obviously it's at home. So it's like you can't. There, hopefully nobody gets anybody else to do it, but there's no chain of custody at that point of who's doing the swabs and who's doing the blood test when it's at home. Whereas in a clinic, obviously, and also the clinic checks the ID as well to make sure it's the same, it's the right, not the same person, but obviously it's a person. Now I understand due to GDPR, not every clinic does this. I mean, Dean Street do check performers' IDs, because I was in there and I was in there the other day, and you have to show your ID. They even ask you, you've got your ID, yeah, and they tick it off. I know some clinics up and down the country don't do that. So we normally say is you've got to make sure, and then obviously Dean Street send a test out, which is via PDF email, which has also got a password on it. So hopefully you can't tamper with it. And we normally say to people, if somebody asks to see your cert, just forward it on with your details, and it's all, it's all good. So yes, that's what we normally say is we only, in the industry, certed only a cert, not a home test. But obviously during the lockdown, where people weren't able to get into clinics, some performers were accepting home tests, and we say again, it's on an individual basis. But studios wouldn't accept a home test at all. It would have to be a certificate from a clinic that were, yeah. Do you want to add anything to that, Jason?
I think you made the point really well. I think also though that the fact that it's something that's really helpful for potentially other members of the public means that that's obviously really great. Obviously, that can potentially save the NHS some money as well, and that means that services that people in the porn industry really rely on to be in person, like the sort of ID checking part of that feature. That means that's more likely to stay stable, because the whole NHS is finding ways to optimize its services. Obviously there's this whole thing of people in the content creator situation. A lot of them are very new to the industry, so talking about somebody, sometimes these are the very first time they've had a conversation about certificates, and we're still kind of establishing the communication pathways as it is. Yeah, so I think there's a lot to be said about that and the sort of emotional landscape across the entire community currently.
Well, thank you for clearing that up. Next, I want to ask Polita, how are the memberships? Like, what's the scheme? Do you guys have a membership scheme, or how does it go?
Yes, so for now, because we're just at the beginning, we decided that at least for the first year, all memberships are going to be donation based. So in that way, of course, we're going to encourage everyone that wants to join and help build this app. Obviously, we have this. But we have been, so what we've been doing is like we've been approaching bigger production companies and asking them obviously for a bigger donation so that we can just cover all of the financial costs that we have at the beginning, so just setting up the website and starting getting things rolling basically.
Okay. Great. Hoping that this pandemic is going to an end, it's coming to an end, it's just let it go. What do you see? What are the plans for next year? Let's say that the moment that the clock strikes 12, we're going into 2022, no pandemic anymore. What are the plans in a utopic world where this pandemic doesn't exist? What are the plans that you guys have for 2022? I'm going to start with Leah.
Oh goodness.
I know how much you love this question, so that's why I wanted to start with you.
Traveling, as much traveling as possible, seeing people, getting back into spending time with performers and hearing, what's actually going on, because it's so difficult when we're all in different countries and stuck in our offices, and there aren't many events like Snap are having in December, which is going to be a wonderful time to, I said network, but really hear what's going on and what people are struggling with and what resources they feel they need, and just have that more personable contact with people within the industry. I think that's so important, because it's the only way that we can continue ensuring that we're providing what people want. Travel, seeing people, getting involved.
Thank you. Travel, seeing people, get involved. Sahara, what are your plans? You can say the personal as well. Yes, I would love to hear the personal plans.
I don't know what my personal plans are at the moment. Travel would depend on lots of circumstances, but I think it's just getting out more, meeting more people, personal, just working. As for Snap, carry on what we're doing, also try to get more seminars and events where we can actually meet in person. I think most of us have had enough now of Zoom. We're all zoomed out now. It's different, obviously, meeting in people and just talking in person. It's just a different vibe that you get, and hopefully we carry on. And hopefully our membership increases. Obviously, that membership can increase. We offer a free membership as well as a supportive membership. So and carry on. Carry on what we're doing.
Carry on. Thank you so much. Jason, what about you?
Yeah, sure. So, there's a lot of long-term goals that we have as far as projects that we're going to, look into. So we're trying to develop some e-learning to be able to support people who are newer to the community when they're getting involved. Also, as I said, the conversation about things like intimacy coordinators, maybe there's roles for people when they're retiring from the community, that maybe that dovetails really well with intimacy coordination, or what are the types of roles or pathways that people are looking for when it comes to someone wanting to retire or make other investments or whatever it is after work in the industry. So that's something which would be a really exciting piece of work to be able to look into as well. There's continual goals like putting together the maps that we have so that people can sort of network with different companies when they're maybe traveling or touring or getting used to the community and they're starting to discover what's available to them. So those types of resources I think are going to be slow and exciting, sort of just the whole thing of agile, right? The whole thing of the more you invest into it, the more you just keep adding where you can. And that's going to be exciting to see where it goes. to where it's
What
way
about,
future is.
what about your personal plans? What do you want to do for 2022?
Oh my goodness, my personal plans. Well, I am redoing how I do a lot of my content creation, and I'm excited to see whether if I break down my content creation into very specific fetishes or very specific themes, and I do them as very much like micro brands, whether I see results in that way or feedback from that. But also, because there's been quite a lot of changes in the industry recently, it's encouraging me to try new platforms. And I've had a bunch of different platforms who are like, try me out. You know, like I don't know much about crypto, but I've had people contact me and be like, have a look at crypto in the industry. Like, so there's a lot of learning that I feel is ahead of me, and I'm excited to see how I feel about those things. But there's always going to be a lot of fights politically, because there's so many attacks against our industry, just sort of saying stigmatizing things rather than having a conversation with us.
Unfortunately, that's true. But the fact that we're learning and we're all you know, improving ourselves, this is the best thing. And this is the only thing actually that we can do, just improve ourselves and just make a better ourselves. Because these attacks, unfortunately, they're still gonna come, no matter how, you know, no matter how much time passes. Unfortunately, they're still gonna come. People are still gonna be ignorant about us, no matter how much information there is there. So yeah. Miriam, what about you? What are Dean Street's plans and what are yours?
So our plans are to obviously open up a bit more. I'm not sure that we could go back to walk-in preps because it's just too much. But the one thing that I would like to do is open up walk-in treatments. So I think it's very beneficial to patients and also very beneficial to the general public. I'd like to bring Gold Card members back to walk-in. I think it'd be a lot easier instead of us forward planning the 4-week next visit. But yeah, personally, I just want to get to the Dominican Republic. Next year is the 3rd time lucky. But yeah, apart from that, I just want to get to my mum's for Christmas. Yeah, so just keep going forward, keep reducing HIV, basically. That's my ultimate goal. Very proud of that. So, yeah.
That's lovely. That's lovely. Thank you. What about you, Polita?
So hopefully meeting you all in person. I mean, I wanted to say I've been really looking forward to connect with you folks at Snap, Jason and Sahara. It's just been crazy times, but I really hope that we can, well, first connect virtually and then hopefully 2022, all of us in person. I think it would be amazing if we can organize some kind of conference or any kind of meeting where maybe we can all together, you know, put something together. I think that would be beautiful. If we can offer that to everyone in the industry. And for FSC, I guess we're mostly going to be focusing next year, a little bit what everyone said, like trying to build up more connection points, more network, more events or something where people can, you know, share experiences and knowledge. Again, also hopefully in cooperation with all of you. And I think one of the things that we are also having quite upfront is we want to, you know, we are looking forward to a lot of press work, hopefully, and maybe see towards a legal, you know, battles that are right now happening. There's a lot happening, especially like in Germany and France, but also Spain in terms of, you know, general like sex work, and such a big backlash on so many levels. And I think we need to be as vocal as possible and amplify all of our voices and really. I'm hoping that by us trying to unify maybe a little bit more of our voices in the industry, which they still can be plural, you know, saying we need to have the same opinion, but just trying to be a bit more coordinated in our efforts to form public opinion, especially, and hopefully then that will impact also legislation.
That is a wonderful thought. That needs to happen. That if that happens, everything is gonna be good. That would be amazing. No, thank you all for your participation, for coming to community collaboration. Thank you to the wonderful sponsors, AdultWork and XBIZ. And I'll hopefully see you guys soon at Snap event. I'm gonna travel. I'm gonna come. Put me on that get list. There we go. I'm gonna do it. You know how much I travel, Leah. You know I love to travel, so why not?
Yeah. Send me your details, and I'll put you on the list.
There we go. We're good. Say, keep the cake for me. I want that cake. Thank you guys so much for coming, and hopefully to see you soon in health and with super happy, all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Take care. Bye bye.